Objection! Hello everypony, I'm MasterCode, your ace analyst, and today we take a look at issue number 13 of the G5 comics, and Friends Forever number 1. So it seems that Maritime Bay is holding its annual bake-off, with ponies from all over Equestria arriving to join in the affair, along with our main 5. This reminded me of the Friends Forever comic where AJ and Pinkie Pie also take part in a baking competition. And with that, I figured today we do a little comparison and see which one did it better. G5 comic number 13 or Friends Forever number 1? Let's find out. Though the central plots of both stories revolve around baking, they both have radically different styles in overall execution and feel. With the G5 comic, there's really not much to complexity to the story, and it's pretty much played straight, other than one or two bizarre scenes. The G4 comic is much more over the top with eccentric cooking personalities, equally crazy confectionery creations, and some chaotic situations, especially the side story with this gourmet artist slash prankster marine sandwich. So yeah, pretty weird, but allow me to give you more context. Pinkie has been practicing making tons of confectionaries for the competition and enters willingly to prove that she's the best chef in Equestria, while Applejack is reluctantly thrown into the competition due to some shenanigans and confusion early on, and is mistaken for this marine sandwich character, who is constantly trying to get into the contest. But it's definitely a weird setup to be sure, when the whole thing with marine sandwich could have been much more simplified. Just have Pinkie and AJ attending the contest for fun, and have this weird mare constantly trying to interfere because she's been banned for cheating or something. And from there, we see the various competitors, including our stars, go through the various levels of the bake-off. Anyway, as I said, the G5 comic is much more conservative in its characters and storytelling, while in the G4 comic there's a lot more zaniness that happens in the story. Maybe a little too much. With the G5 comic, we see the gang debate over what they should bake, and with each suggestion, they reminisce on some of their favorite treats, leading to some cute and fun moments of family bonding, especially with Hitch, Sunny, and Argyle. Of course, as I said, there's some bizarre moments as well.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
There's no real character development or major revelations to be found here, but it feels like a much more emotional story of friends reliving their old days and taking joy in their reminiscing. The G4 comic tries to be as over the top as possible, and there are some decent funny moments here and there, such as with the other competitors, especially the pyromaniac who nearly burns one of the judges.
My hair is on fire! My hair is on fire!
And Marine Sandwich constantly getting thrown out is fun as well. Though our core cast focuses on AJ, Pinkie, and up-and-coming chef Toffee Truffle. The story itself is kind of a mixed bag. Yeah, the zany moments are fine and the other characters serve their purpose, but the flow of the tale doesn't feel consistent. In the beginning, Pinkie's all psyched up for the competition, yet panics when the spotlight is on her, and she realizes she forgot to bring her entry. Which doesn't make any sense, as this is the kind of competition where each round reveals a new theme, and therefore all food or ingredients of said theme would be provided at the location to the contestants, and said contestants would not know what to make. Now, I will admit I know little to nothing about baking contests, so if I'm wrong about this, let me know. Also, Pinkie doesn't even have an entry for the first round, so therefore shouldn't she automatically lose or gain 0 points or something? Anyway, after talking to the mayor from Dodge City, AJ and Pinkie want to help out Toffee by basically throwing the contest by creating baked bads, which admittedly was a nice callback, but I dislike how they were just going to let her win. Thankfully though, they changed their attitude and play it straight after Toffee confronts them about purposely failing, but the fact that this was still in the comic kinda hurts the message of striving no matter what adversity you're up against, even in a baking competition. Now, let's compare the artwork, which is night and day. The G4 comic feels very flat with muted colors, and the majority of the backgrounds are just gradients. There are some pages that have a unique look from the rest of the comic, but otherwise it looks like it was just drawn in MS Paint. The G5 comic, on the other hoof, has much more detail in the character designs, more vibrant colors, and showing depth with shadows. Though it is still guilty of using several gradients for backgrounds, but for the most part, it isn't as blatant as the other comic. Also, you don't notice it at first, but the artist does recycle the character's facial expressions. As for the end of the comic, the group decides to make cookies that all possess their favorite ingredients that represent them. win. It obviously doesn't go well with the judges, allowing Dahlia to win, which is kind of a nice little redemption from her losing the previous bake-off in the previous issue. So, after all that, we now come back to the original question. Which comic did a baking competition story better? Honestly, the G5 comic wins this one.
God help us!
I know, right? It's shocking that something from G5 did something better than G4. It doesn't do anything grandiose in terms of story and character development, but it's a nice, sweet treat that fans will enjoy. The G4 comic does attempt to do a lot, but bakes too much into its story and comes off as overwhelming to one's palate. So yeah, that about wraps it up. And here's hoping I never have to see another comment saying that I hate everything about G5. Aren't I not fair? Well, that's it for today, guys. Until next time, and see ya!